So, myself, Renu Kumari, and I am joined as the new community manager for the Frictionless data. So, currently, I am associated with the National Institute of Plant Genome Research, where we are working with the semantic climate. And the semantic climate is the organizations which will work on the climate data and everything that are making people aware about that and creating the youth champions. Like we have the interns from the graduate and undergraduate courses, so we make them learn how they can do the coding and how they work on all the available data of the climate and all the literatures available in the scientific background. So they work on that. So currently I'm handling that and also have joined this frictionless data community for as an open fellow position. So today it is my first meeting with all you all. So I need introductions, just a round of just introductions from everybody, so that I have the knowledge about all the community people or the group of the working people. So you can start. Maybe I have to call the names, or it's like a round of I can just from my big screen it is coming, so I can just tell them. So hello Ethan. Apologize if I'm taking the names wrong or pronunciation because of the names I have.
Hi, yes, did you call me?
Big noisy background.
That was strange. Let's hope that doesn't happen again. Hi,
Yes,
yes.
fine.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Ethan Welty. I'm the database manager at the World Glacier Monitoring Service in Zurich, Switzerland, and I've been making use of or extending somehow frictionless tools or the data package standard, and I've got more involved in sort of the version 2 data package specification. So I guess I'm on the working group as one of the people that weighs in on suggested changes.
Hello Evgeny. I think I'm correct.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes. Perfectly fine. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, long time no see everyone. Yeah, I'm Evgeny. I've been a long time Frictionless data community member, Open Knowledge Foundation member, and worked a lot on data package and worked with the working group on the data package version 2.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Thank
you. Yeah. Hello, Peter.
Hi, I'm Peter Desmet. I work at INBO, based in Belgium. I work with biodiversity data and been involved in data package version 2, and I maintain the R package called Frictionless to read and add resources and write data packages. And we use data package as well for a number of standards specific to biodiversity data. One is called ChemTrapDB for camera trap data. And the more general standard that is used in biodiversity data called Darwin Core will very soon also have something called Darwin Core data package. So we're relying more and more on data package as the underlying packaging format for biodiversity data.
Thank you. Amber. Hello, Amber.
Hi, I'm Amber York. I'm at BicoDemo. I think I've met several of you in the past. But for those of you who don't know us at BicoDemo, we're the Biological and Chemical Oceanography Data Management Office, who work primarily with NSF-funded oceanography data to make it well-described, interoperable, fair, and free. So that's our purpose, and we've collaborated in the past with you folks, primarily on the frictionless data package, and especially the pipelines as they were then. And we're currently very much working on data packages for in our publication, we're making a new architecture for streamlining archival packages, and we're relying heavily on data packages. So Adam Shepard, our technical director, had a conflict today. He would have loved to be here, but he's deep in the throes of that. So Peter, I'm interested to see more about that Darwin core package as well. That looks very relevant. Yeah, so it's nice to meet you, those who I haven't seen before.
Okay. Oleg, it's Oleg. Hi, Oleg.
Hi, everyone. So I'm obviously also, as the emoji indicates, from Switzerland. I've been working with the Swiss chapter of Open Knowledge called opendata.ch for a few years. And I develop also tools that are based on data packages, especially in the kind of activist domain of crowdsourcing data through datathons and hackathons, as well as through geographic information systems, and currently working on topic of public AI. Quite interested in everything's happening around the open data editor and specifications in general, how that's going to evolve. I'm just happy to be here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Nikesh. Hi, Nikesh.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone. My name is Nikesh Palabi. I'm from Open Knowledge Nepal. I don't specifically have been involved on frictionless community, but I'm the well user and usually join the community call. So great seeing everyone. So nice meeting you.
Thank you everyone for the nice introductions, and I got to know what kind of diverse people you are and having a very nice technical background. So it's been helpful for all of us. So today's agenda, you have seen all this in the document I have shared. So we have the presentation from the data package. So I just have to query who is having the presentation, so you can share and presentation. So I had just questions. So from the data package group, are you going any presentations? Do we have any presentation today, or we move towards the Zenodo integrations from the Zeni, where he can discuss?
Your microphone doesn't really pick up your voice very well. But,
Okay. I just talking like if you have the presentation for today's from the data package working group, so we can have the presentation first, or we'll go for the Evgeny because he's going to talk about the Zenodo integration. So what do you suggest?
Okay, well, I did not prepare a presentation from the data package working group. I think we can discuss what the plans are or what we can do in the coming months.
Okay.
And, or if Jenny can give his presentation first. There's two things that I can discuss. One is the updates of the R and Python package, what is happening there. And I think for what the data package working group is going to do, it's more of a collective thing that we have to, there's nothing set out for the moment. So yeah, maybe it's good if we present first on the things we're sure about, which is the libraries and the Zenodo integration, and then maybe go into what work needs to still be done by the working group. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, Evgeny, you can share the things.
Yeah, thank you. First time on this platform, so let me figure it out. Nope.
Big Blue Button is great. Thank you for setting up this server, by the way. I have not seen it yet either, but we use it a lot here. Made in Canada, but an open source project.
Nice, but does it have like share the screen button?
You need to be invited to meet you need to be a moderator.
Lucas, Lucas, are you there?
Yeah, hey, Evgeny, I've just made you a presenter. Yeah, take a look.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just for the future, it's kind of, I think it will be kind of like plus button at the bottom. Sorry, can't yet make it. Yeah, share the screen. Okay, can you see it?
Very well, yes.
Yeah, thank you, because I can't see you. So it's you know, kind of like it's more like an announcement rather than a proper presentation, because it's not a lot to talk about. But it's just a great news to share that it's been, I think, kind of like 2 years. We started with this idea of working with Zenodo to get the data package as a native for the platform for Zenodo export format. So it started with a NLNet grant 2 years ago, and then it took like another year to go through the Zenodo systems because they backed not by CCAN but by some like complex data management software. And finally, a few months ago, we made it here. Data package JSON now is like first class citizen in their system. So on every data set, there is now a button, a select option to export it as a data package. So regarding the why and how why it's important. So I think the main thing that previously I'm not talking about only Zenodo because it's more general thing. So not having a data portal, not having data package as a native format made us to write for like each supported languages library the adapter to understand the internal Zenodo format. And done for Frictionless Pi, I think not for Frictionless R. I also worked lately on the new TypeScript implementation for data package and also supported Zenodo format. But in general, it wasn't like sustainable and scalable because any other implementation couldn't understand the Zenodo format. So after Zenodo providing data packages on for every data set they have, like every compatible implementation can just read every data set on Zenodo, and yeah, it's like easier to see now here. So for example, like Frictionless Pi, just reading their export endpoint, and once it's already in the data package format, an implementation can do like everything with the data set without any additional adapters or anything. So basically any data set can be export or like validated or whatever. So Zenodo, I think it's the first step, but we got to this idea like a few years ago at Open Knowledge Foundation that probably the best way to grow the data package format as a kind of like unified data exchange format is working with data portals, because having support for each data portal just reduce the need of having it supported in like each and every library people maintain, like Frictionless R, Frictionless Pi, or dpkit. So we already have a second plugin, but it's a second extension, but it's never been like really promoted or even like really shared with the second community, and it might be like a good time to reach second people with this idea, because it's already on Zenodo. And of course, there are other data portals that might consider also adding data package as a standard for data exporting, because like the last slide, so let me just to add a few things like without the presentation open. So in general, it's sorry. So Zenodo has kind of like a 10, maybe 12 export formats. So basically, only data package supports both, like rich metadata and tabular data. And I wish we hadn't like create a new standard to achieve this, but basically there is no other options, and I think other portals can consider it as a viable option, because that data site is great, like others great, but there is no, for example, tabular information, and it doesn't make data really fair, findable, reusable, etc., because it's just like information about contributors, etc. So basically, yeah, that's it. That was an announcement.
Okay, thank you. If any people can comment on that or
One second, I need to.
Okay. So basically from the Zenodo integration, so it's easy for the people to use it, the technology.
Sorry?
Just have the query, because I have going to use it and explore it from the Zenodo. So it's easy for the people, those who don't have the technical background or something, so use it from the Zenodo integrations. Or what's the advantage of like?
I think at this stage, it more important for integrators, because
Okay.
people won't be using like directly, I think, this data package from Zenodo, but they can use with the Frictionless Pi or Frictionless R.
Okay.
So like end users will benefit anyway.
Thank you. So what Peter wants, so others can suggest what can.
Yeah, I think one of the important things to realize is that it exports the metadata that you have in Zenodo in the data package format, and it also lists the files that are included. So in that sense, it is a bit similar to the Zenodo API, but in data package format. But it does not express any schemas about the files. The only thing you know is there's a file there. Integrators still have to figure out what to do with that file, if there is even a data package JSON file uploaded by the user, if there's schemas in there. So, I mean, it is by design very generic for any deposit on Zenodo. If you deposit software on Zenodo, you will also be able to get that in the data package format, and your one file will be the zip file with all the source code. So, yeah, I was just curious if Jenny, if you know of any future developments. I mean, this is now finished, I believe, but is there any future developments? So for tabular data, there's a way for users to express the schemas, and that is then also exposed in that endpoint, because currently we'll have two endpoints kind of for somebody who's uploading a data package JSON to Zenodo. One is the standardized one, which is just listing the files. And one of the files will then be that data package JSON file that they've uploaded. So yeah, I think it's important to understand the limitations. It's great that as an access point in data package format to discover files, it's great. For tabular data, it's not great yet because there's no schema. So are there any future plans that you're aware of, or does that require new funding, new collaboration?
Yes, it's a good point. So I think we already discussed, Peter and I, this previously, and I think it makes sense to also discuss it as a broader group of this kind of like thing that, yes, general data portal, like now Zenodo exports only information about metadata and resources, but there's no, for example, field names, etc. So as a user, you can add a data package JSON, basically with only table schemas. And I think Peter also mentioned that it basically their approach at the their project. So they use Zenodo metadata visual editing to add like contributors and the stuff, and then they add data package JSON to provide tabular information, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it's something to think, all of us, what will be the best kind of like solution for it, because personally I'm not sure if Zenodo can, for example, provide perfect field data like types, etc. I know that CCAN can, but not sure about Zenodo or other portals. So I think it's a question for the community, what the most flexible and maybe easy way to publish data.
Yes, Oleg.
I'm just kind of confused a bit. I mean, I love this feature and I think this is really great, but the only attribution to Zenodo that I can see in the data package is the home page. Okay, and maybe the identifier, which is this DOI address that mentions Zenodo, right? The contributors of the data set are just the authors of the data set. The license, I suppose, is also coming from the contributor's choice of license. Is there also plan to have really like Zenodo data? Like you mentioned the API, it's inspired by the API, but would the Zenodo API also be available as a data package? A bit like they do, they have these metadata dumps, which you can find in the Zenodo developer documentation. This API exporter, I kind of first assumed that's what you were actually providing. I'll put the link in the chat. So exactly.
So to answer that question, if you go to any deposit on Zenodo, there's this button to export, and they have the Zenodo format for their metadata, which is what they expose to their Zenodo API. They, of course, also have a data site export, because that is the general standard for data sets. It's what is needed for them to issue DOIs to their deposits. And then you have a whole number of other formats that you can export the data in. And now data package is yet another format of that. So another one would be BibText or DCAT or code meta, and that is all based on the metadata that they hold. There's complete freedom in the files you upload. So the only knowledge they have about the files is there are 5 files in this data set, and we're going to list them as resources. So that is everything you find in the data package JSON is all the information they have in their metadata and about their file system. I think it would be useful for the software that we maintain that if, for example, in the Frictionless R package, you provide a URL that is at Zenodo URL, that it is a bit smart in discovering, hey, one of the files is a data package JSON. Let's unpack that and see if we can find more information there. That is a connector that is going to be I think we'll have to make on our side. It's not a connector that Zenodo will make in any way, because they're not making any assumptions about the files, not even if they're tabular or not. So that is, it's an export format for the metadata and endpoints for the files. And I don't think it will go any further than that. But the nice thing is that for any software that already understands data package metadata and resources, you don't have to write any converter for Zenodo metadata to data package metadata anymore. That is now provided by them.
Yeah, and for example, with Friction Spy, yes, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just adding to this. For Friction Spy, what does it mean? It means that Friction Spy having like one link from Zenodo, it's already knows like metadata and knows the list of files. And basically for Friction Spy, it will provide you like ability to read tables and fair types. So even there is no metadata on tabular level, it will be kind of like useful anyway. So even like just having a list of files is a kind of like big thing.
Yeah, I understand that. What I was specifically referring to is that the Zenodo, format in itself is worthy of a data package, and they have documentation about how to download raw data, these metadata dumps. I think we just need to make one more data package just describing their format, and so it's possible to also give them attribution correctly and so on, just at a different level. But yeah, no, I understand this is really great work, like I said, on the data package for the data sets hosted on Zenodo.
Thank you, Zeni, for the presentations and the discussion on the Zenodo integrations of the packages. So I think anybody else has the presentations about that, or we'll move to the round of plans for the 2026, or we'll have a next meeting for that.
Sorry, I think Ethan also.
Yeah, I guess time is going to get short, but yeah, I have my hand raised for a while, so I'll go with a couple quick comments. One, Evgeny, if you're looking for a next data repository to target, I would actually specifically suggest Pangea, which is not in your list, but this would be an interesting exercise because they actually are curating tabular data on all of their repositories. Their team they've dedicated a lot of time and effort to make sure that there's tables that have specific units and with a defined type. And so it seems like that would be a way to bring a lot of value to the work that they've already done. And it's an enormous data repository focusing in the natural sciences and mostly Europe, I guess, but I mean, it's quite broad. So just a tip, I guess, that maybe that could be an interesting direction where it'd be really bring out the full value of data package. Because right now I would say that the options are not great actually for downloading the data. And then, yeah, I guess, in a comment on this in terms of these efforts to move between different metadata standards. So I took the liberty of adding kind of an interaction in the other direction. So where we're developing on a data set as a data package and then publishing it to Zenodo, and doing our darndest to bring all of the relevant information from the metadata or even within the data itself into the data site or like Zenodo metadata format. And there's always issues, right? When you move between these standards, you can't quite get it perfectly right. Maybe there's not always the right place for something. And so so maybe a question or a comment or both, that project could be useful reference. I don't know if that's ever needed to see how kind of we approached it, but for the export, just, I think it'd be nice as a person who's publishing data and other things on Zenodo, that all of the metadata that's contained in Zenodo is included somehow, even if there was no good place for it. So I don't know if that's just like a attribute original metadata and then it's just the whole thing again, but I think that would be a good cautionary step to make, and I don't know if that's how it currently behaves right now.
Thank you, Ethan, for the suggestions. Amber, do you want some suggestions? Do you want to give something?
Yeah, I just put something in the chat about, I was partially reinforcing some of what Peter was trying to say about, like, this is really exciting work, but I think that if you're looking for kind of next steps, like what's really important for data reuse and using data is I think what Peter was getting at like kind of getting some more of the schema in there, especially places to put important metadata, like for tabular at least, like descriptions of what's in there, like the column descriptions, units, so important. And in generalist repositories, that's often a big barrier, is that kind of information doesn't always make it in with the data, and it's a barrier to reuse. So like kind of having, if you build it, they will come mentality. Like if you have the structural field, it's like enter your information, like maybe that would help that problem.
Thank you, Amber. So, other like anybody have other presentations, or we'll move to the other sections. Okay.
Just
Cool.
a quick
Yeah.
+1 to the discussion in the chat. I really think that's a great idea. If there's a data package.json in a dataset publication on Zenodo, that should be a first-class citizen, and we should encourage that.
Yeah, and I want to add to that. I was hoping in some way, I mean, I understand the roadmap that Zenodo took here is the metadata that we have is what we export. If there's a data package JSON file there, we ignore it. I mean, it is listed in the resources. Ideally, I would want to have a combination where that can also be served as at an endpoint. As a user, you can choose between the two. You can easily discover that it exists there, or that Zenodo, for example, merges the metadata that it has with the resource information that's in the data package JSON that the user uploaded, because then you have the best combination of both. Because when I upload a data package JSON to Zenodo, I keep my metadata minimal because I don't want to repeat that information. But at least in the software that we write, now that we know that the Zenodo endpoint exists, or for any data package that we get, if we know or see that one of the resources is called data package JSON, we can do probably extra things in informing the user, hey, there's probably an easier way to work with that data, or have functions that combine them if Zenodo doesn't do it. But yeah, that is, it is still a bit hard for the user to make the data package JSON that they're created discoverable. And I think on the software side, we can do things there. And even I agree with you in converting metadata from one format to another. It's a pain. And that is why I really focus in creating data packages on describing the data sets, as in the resources aspect, and I keep all the rest light. Because I think in metadata standards, data site is a huge one, and I mainly try to provide my metadata in that format. And the key aspect that data package provide that none other provide is the description of tabular resources, and that is what I provide in the data package JSON. So it's also why I like that data package metadata is light for the moment, and it's not very extensive, and it's just the minimal information you have there.
We have
But I'll
Renata here.
definitely keep it on the
Hello,
radar
Renata.
for. Sorry, I'll definitely keep it on the radar for the R package to maybe see, can we provide or warn users about an existence of a data package resource, and that they can maybe read that one rather than the one they just read from Zenodo.
Okay. So we have Renata here. Hello, Renata. I think she has joined from somewhere, but she's not able to. Yeah. Okay, fine. So I think Lucas. Hello, Lucas.
Hey, me?
Do you want to comment on that, the governments and everything? You want to discuss something?
I can, but I just saw Pato here, Patricio, so maybe he's the best to talk about this.
Okay, Patricio. Hi. If you can. Hello, Patricio.
Hi, hello everyone. Sorry, I was like in the shower. I have like workers in my house, so I'm introducing quickly myself for the ones that know me. I'm Patricio Luaca, working currently as the Open Knowledge Foundation, as a main developer, CCAN developer, and technical leader. So, thank you all.
Thank you.
No, sorry, I'm clear on the agenda and the topic. Was like the discussion about, or
so the agenda discussion about the roundup plans for the 2026. So you can comment on that also, or you can comment on the updates on the staffing, governance, and the funding. We have added that agenda also.
no, sorry, I don't have like comments on that.
Okay. Lucas, do you have any comments on that? What for the roundup plans for the 2026 or something?
Not actually. Regarding frictionless, no. that was
Hi,
could jump in, but maybe
Renata.
Renata has. Yep.
I connected
Hello,
now to the
Renata.
microphone. I think
Yes,
that I can
yes.
very quickly comment on the plans for the frictionless community. Sorry. So we got, there's three things for the rest of the year for our pipeline. One thing was to reactivate, that we are doing today, to reactivate this community and try to have a more structured a continuation of the meetings, which we will probably do in a more light format than today, but it is always nice to have someone presenting and then a roundup of opportunities and then technical comments and then any other business on events and so on. The second thing is that we want the long overdue task. That's why Lucas is here, of updating a couple of videos. One, what frictionless is, a simple updated video on what frictionless is. He can show you what we did with Open Data Editor. It will be like within those lines, very simple. And the other one dedicated to the data package. So we might, he will update with more details, but that's like, revamping a little bit of communications and updating, as we said in the summit, like updating collaborations and, like having on the website like true representation of the community is on the pipeline. And the third thing is, we are part, and that's why I'm here in Brasilia, of the Digital Public Goods. So we are still in the process of studying whether we can submit an application of frictionless data as a whole thing, and it's a pending conversation with their technical person, or parts of of frictionless data as digital public goods. That is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it's very nice because it forces us to keep everything up to date, because it's not something that is granted forever. It's a commitment to maintenance and commitment to keep the community active. But on the other hand, it connects us with a lot of real life use cases from many governments and international organizations, which is very, very interesting. And last but not least, we just launched in Rio a couple of days ago the Open Technologies Research Network in a partnership with Open Source Initiative and Open Forum Europe. And part of this alliance will be to launch a stream, hopefully, of both funding and research on the data of open technologies and the data component of open technologies. Of course, it's not in duplication of what already exists, but in coordination with the ecosystem that currently is funding efforts like frictionless data. So it is still in the works, but it will be very, very, very interesting opportunity to make reproducible data a core part of any research initiative. So those are our updates. Apart from that, we are very, very, very constraining resources, but we are trying to do the best that we can with the small team that we have. So if we have some delays in responding and so on, please understand. But we didn't want this community to feel abandoned. And on the contrary, we wanted to dedicate the attention it deserves, because, for example, things like Open Data Editor rely on the work that this community has, achieved over the years. That's it.
Thank you, Renata, for your wonderful thoughts about what we are going to do in the 2026 and how we are going to maintain this community lively and everything. So we have in the agenda the other business, like citing the spec and open research dev room at FOSDEM. So we are going to participate in that, or just like
I can give an update on the developments for 26 from our side as well, if that is interesting. So we submitted this year a grant that we did not get, and some of you, Amber and Ethan, wrote letters of support for that, called Frictionless Science. And the goals of that project were to support science or fair science more with the data package. And the components there was we were going to write a scientific paper about the data package standard and why it can be used for science. We were going to have faster validation written in Rust that could be used by the Python and the R packages. We would update the Python and R packages to make use of data package version 2. And we would have more outreach to the scientific community. So we did not get that grant, and those things are not going to happen, but now we got some funding from the Open Knowledge Foundation, which we're really grateful for, to at least update the Python and the R packages to be able to read data package version 2, because data package version 2 is out. We can talk about improving the specs and adding things, but as long as the software doesn't follow, except for DP kit by Evgeny, as long as the Python and the R software doesn't follow, it is also, the spec will get really out of scope or beyond what the software actually can do. So Imbo, us, the maintainer of the R package, and Multi-Coop, the maintainer of the Python package, will now have a bit of funding to at least be able to read and write data package version 2, and also to do a conversion from 1 to 2. So if you get a data package in version 1, you can upgrade it to 2. It's a translation of the things that have changed. Not all features of version 2, for example, the schema match or other things, will be implemented. We'll have to see, but at least we don't want to be a blocker anymore that if you produce a data package version 2, which is, for example, what is exposed by the Zenodo API, that you cannot read it in R and Python. So that aspect we're still going to do. And also look for other funding opportunities to maybe tackle this faster validation, which I think would be fantastic for science. I still believe that one is, I mean, I use the validation all the time, every time I get a data set. I use a Python validation for that, but you have even a faster one that both R and Python could use. That would be fantastic. I think still the scientific paper to outreach to the scientific community would also have a huge impact. But for the moment, we'll have to put those on the back burner of IDs again until we find funding to pursue those IDs. But yeah, for between now and mid-26, we hope to at least work in upgrading the R and Python package so that the reading of version 2 is possible. So that's an update on the software development side on our side.
Thank you for the update you are giving the data package version 2. So R and the package R Python and the Python library will be upgraded to that. Okay. So I think we have included all the discussion points. So Lucas, do you have any final comments on that, or anybody have the final comments? So we can wrap up the things, or we can.
Maybe I just share the link in the chat. I don't know if you've all seen, but I can also share my screen and show you the kind of narrative we are looking for, the data package video and frictionless data as well. If it's okay, as we have time.
Yes.
Yep. So let me share my screen. Please confirm if the audio is going.
We've all been there.
Can you hear the audio?
Yes.
Yes? Yeah. Okay, so I'll just start again. So this is the Open Data Editor video. It's like not finalized, as I said, because it will be released in the DPG fair next week. But it has pretty much everything we want to show.
We've all been there. Opening a spreadsheet only to find a mess of missing values, weird formats, and inconsistent entries. Hours of cleaning every cell before you can actually do anything useful with it. There is a better way. Meet the Open Data Editor by the Open Knowledge Foundation. It's an open source desktop app that catches errors in your data automatically and shows you exactly what needs fixing. Whether you're preparing data for publication or cleaning data sets for analysis, Open Data Editor helps you get it right. When activated, the AI feature helps you understand and work with your data. Nothing gets uploaded to any cloud. It runs locally on your computer using offline language models. Your data stays always private by design. But here's what makes it really different. It's built for activists, public servants, community organisers and researchers. You don't need to know code or any programming languages. It's actually the opposite. You can learn about data on the go. It comes with a free gamified course called Quality and Consistent Data with Open Data Editor, available on School of Data. There are 7 modules to help you get on your first steps into the world of open data. The Open Data Editor was developed with a community of data practitioners from all around the world, real people and organisations providing direct feedback and showing the actual problems they face every day in their data workflows. In October 2025, the Digital Public Goods Alliance recognised Open Data Editor as a digital public good, confirming it meets high standards for openness and supports sustainable development globally. Download it at okfn.org/Open Data Editor and turn messy data into something you can trust.
So this is it. Nice, right? So yeah, this will be the kind of video like animations and a narrative, but like putting everything in 1-2 minutes so people can understand not only a part of the project, but what is it about, the history and so on. So I'll be in touch very soon through Reno to work on the scripts and stuff.
Like the music, Lucas, music is quite like very nice, but people may, I think, focus on the music more than the context. I think they enjoy the thing.
Yeah.
Can happen.
Yeah, that's why I said it's not really finalized. We are reviewing details. There are some images that are not with good resolution. As I said, like it's just like the first export. But well, you can feel the narrative. Yeah, it's backslash is one of the things. Yeah. One of the things we need to change. It's like it's just slash. It's in my feedback list for the editor.
Yeah, and what we would love is if someone is willing to lend a voice, because we want to to have different accents, different styles of speaking. So if you once we are deep in the process of writing the script for a data package and also writing the script for frictionless data, but that's the idea, to have some assets to explain the basics and some refresh of the communications, because most of the things that we have frictionless data are still Rufus and very old and very with the logic of 10 years ago. So to capture the new talent and to bring more people in the community, that's one of the things that we're thinking of. Peter, do you have the hand up?
Yes, I do, but you can finish this discussion on the video first. It's on another topic.
We have nothing more to say. That we will share it on the Slack, and probably towards the end of the year or next year we will have video. That's it.
Cool. Yeah, I was thinking because we now talked about the software and this video announcement and the Zenodo integration, but for the work that the data package working group is planning to do for next year, there is currently, as far as I'm aware, no plan, but there's I think 2 aspects that I want to discuss. One is there have been some messages on Slack recently that people find old versions of the documentation or are confused on what version of the documentation they should use. That is something that we from the working group cannot control, but you can control from the Open Knowledge Foundation, and maybe removing those old websites or at least redirecting the URLs to the new things. So I think it was a message by, I need to double check here.
Yes, I have read that also.
Jasper. So yeah, it's less confusing for people outside the community actually find the documentation. That is like removing cutting branches of the trees of all the versions that might be out there. The other thing that's also something we wanted to tackle in this frictionless science project that is not funded is updating the documentation so it is written as it is through one voice. I think that is something, yeah, that it would be good if that is still tackled by somebody, because there's lots of variation how the spec is written, and typically specs are very rigid, but in the formatting and how fields are either put in code or not in code, and some of the definitions are a bit vague. That is, I still think, work that needs to be done, but I don't think anybody currently has that assigned as a task. And then the last aspect is I personally want to focus on getting the software up to the current version of the standards before discussing more things to add to the standard. But I also have no idea if there's users out there really clamoring for a new feature to be added to version 2, and they have been waiting for a long time, and it feels like for them that the working group is not responsive. Not been following that up because I want to focus on the software first, but maybe others in the working group have a better idea of the general sentiment that maybe people have in how responsive we are. Noting also that version 1 was not changing for a very, very long time, and people worked around that too. I don't think we necessarily need to make changes to the standard, but it's the responsiveness to issues and things coming in. So any feedback on that would be good, on those three things.
Any feedbacks from?
Yeah, I mean, I could speak to some of this. Well, not with any authority, but in terms of the URLs, yeah, I noticed this too, and there's something kind of I think related to this, is that so on the data package website there's version 2, and there I would note that there's no way in the URL, for example, to know that you're on version 2 other than that you sort of see it there that it's version 2. So I think there's not been good integration, both future and past, about these different versions as they evolve. So there's the version 1 is linked to from the version 2 website, and the version 2 website doesn't really identify itself explicitly like in the URL as version 2. And so, for example, there's not a good way of citing in a scientific paper when I use version, I say I'm using version, I'm using this data package specification. There's no way for me to know that in the future that link won't be to version 3.6. And so I don't know if the easiest thing to do would be to, rather than have version 1 link out of that website to another old one. But I guess it's a bigger issue that it seems like the specification website needs to be versioned, and then either version 1 could be incorporated into just as another version, and then it would just all be under one umbrella, and maybe that's the best solution, but maybe it requires a bit more, obviously more work. But I think even for a future version, there needs to be that capability at some point. So maybe that's a good reason to do that would be to be able to include version 1 into the data package website. So that's my thought there. And then in terms of the working group, I was just back looking at the GitHub and the issues, and I mean, there's things from middle of this year, like a few suggestions for changes, and in particular this one that someone else, it seemed like, was waiting on to be able to build an extension, and there was a proposal for version 2.1, and a lot of this stuff had received kind of 2 to 3 thumbs up from the working group, so not enough for it to pass. And then it just sort of seemed like things kind of ground to a halt. And so, yeah, I wonder, sort of, are we collectively as a working group sort of avoiding taking on these things because it's we don't want to spread ourselves too thin, or yeah, what's the vibe check?
Okay, I think we have
Yeah.
completed the agenda. So if anybody have any last feedback or something, or we can just complete it.
There's a
Yeah,
lot that
Peter.
has happened here in the
Yeah.
chat. Ethan, I agree for like, we need to have the documentation website versions, just like Bootstrap, for example, has a versioned website. Incorporating version 1, I'm all for it if we can keep deep links to the old website, as in it redirects to the new website, because people link deeply to certain things there. So it's a bit more of a tricky exercise. And I think for things that get stale with like 3 thumbs up, yeah, we need actually somebody who's chairing the working group a little bit and not just people. This is work that Evgeny did before. But yeah, I also agree with Renata. It might be good to have just a dedicated meeting with the working group on tackling those things and what we want to do, or what is necessary, as in this is what we would like to have and what is actually feasible to do as volunteers in the data package working group in 26.
Okay. So I'll update the documents and everything, and then share with you all, and all the suggestions and action points mentioned in the chat. So I'll be sharing with all the data package working group members through the email. And also we have some, like Peter, we have some discussion with another person, that John Cherokee. So we need to discuss something with that also. So GRE integrations, I think I have no idea about that. So they wanted a discussion, so we'll set up a meeting with them also sometimes in the future. Okay, I think Lucas, we can just wrap up the things. So thank you everyone. So this is my first community call meeting, so please apologize for mistakes I have done for that. So I am learning the things from you people. So great to see you, and I'll have to.
Thanks for
Thank you
organizing.
everyone. Yeah, thank you. So it's a night time for me, and you have also. It's a completely
Good evening.
Yeah.
Great to see you all.
We are about to
Yeah.
sleep.
Good to see you around.
Yeah.
Good to see you all.
everyone.
Bye.
Guys.
Bye.
Thank you, Renata. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.